Presented by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium. This is the middle game of the three-game series. Blue Jays won a thriller last night, 2-1 in extra innings. Couple of home runs providing all the offense for the Blue Jays. Josh Donaldson, number 30. Jose Bautista, number 25. Let's take a look at the lineup for the Blue Jays. Tulowitzki, Donaldson, and then Bautista. He has a good run against Ivan Nova, the starter for the Yankees. He's 4 for 12 with a home run. That home run came back in 2010. It was his 40th home run of the season. Edwin Encarnacion right behind Bautista. He, too, has hit well against the Yankees starter. A .364 average for his career. They match up well against Ivan Nova. Nova is set. Tulowitzki's in the box. It is 26 degrees and beautiful here in New York. Here's the windup. Missed downstairs for a ball. We're underway.
Just the 8th start of the season for Ivan Nova. As you see, that 4-3 record with a .310 earned run average. He was reinstated from the 15-day disabled list on June the 24th. He missed 71 games because of the Tommy John surgery he had last year, recovering from that. Big plus for the Yankees starting rotation.
No question about it. He's an experienced arm, and he jumps to an even count, 1-1 to Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki 0 for 3 against Nova in limited at bats. .297 for the Blue Jays shortstop on the season. And running fastball misses down and in. Nova for his career 4-2 against the Blue Jays in 9 games. This is his 10th career start. That is pulled foul just off the railing, the third baseline. Tulowitzki has really tightened up the defense for the Blue Jays. You can see his numbers in 9 games against the Yanks.
You know what? He has made all the difference in the world, I think, for this team, offensively and defensively. A little bit different than the guy he replaced, Jose Reyes. Reyes more of a slasher offensively and stealing bases. Tulo a little bit more power, a little bit more polished on defense. And I think it's going to take him a little bit of time to get comfortable with the American League. He's facing a lot of these pitchers for the first time. He's got limited at-bats against them, and he's the kind of guy who needs to have all that information to help him succeed.
Now, I think you're right. He's a very cerebral player. Loves to know a lot about the pitcher he's facing. Full count. Ground ball toward third. Headley takes the big hop, takes his time. 1 down. The Yankees haven't been as tight on defense as they have been in the past. Today it is Chris Young in left, Jacoby Ellsbury's in center, and Carlos Beltran is in right. Chase Headley has committed 18 errors at third base this season. Didi Gregorius is shortstop. Brendan Ryan makes his 9th start at second. Mark Teixeira is at first, and the catcher is Brian McCann.
Gregorius has done well at shortstop. He's following a legend in Derek Jeter. He's played 101 of a possible 108 games this season at shortstop for the Yankees. He's made 10 errors. He's got a .974 fielding percentage and a zone rating of .810. That's the 6th best in the American League.
Josh Donaldson hit that home run in the first to the opposite field in right here last night. For Donaldson, a new career high, 30 home runs now. Both of the Blue Jays runs last night, as we mentioned, coming on home runs. Bautista hit the extra inning home run, the difference in the game. Greg Gibson's the home plate umpire. He calls that a strike. It's 2-1.
Isn't it amazing when you get great pitching like we saw last night from both teams? These are the 2 best scoring teams in the American League. They hit a lot of home runs, and all they could get out of the offense was 2-1 in 10 innings.
And a little looper into right. This is going to get down in front of Ellsbury. Donaldson with a 1-out single here in the first. We mentioned Jose Bautista. He hit a home run against Brandon Pinder last night with 1 out in the 10th.
Yeah, 1-2 pitch that was up in the strike zone, and Jose was describing it. He said he just missed his spot right there, and I was ready to hit it. That is a long way here at Yankee Stadium to deep left center field, but the Blue Jays certainly take it. That home run really energized that team there in the 10th inning.
Bautista entered the game last night with a 194 career batting average in extra innings. Obviously, pitchers are going to pitch very tough to Bautista in extra innings. You're in a tie situation. He's not going to get much to hit.
Seeing teams trying to slip fastballs by Bautista with 2 strikes. A couple of times we saw that back at home when they played Minnesota and the Kansas City Royals. It looked like the Yankees tried to do that, tried to throw that fastball by him, but Jose was all over it.
0-1 to Bautista. He drills that ball into the seats. Boy, he and Edwin are really starting to come around at the right time, aren't they?
Their timing. You just watch them timing-wise, how they're on everything. And Bautista's got that leg kick. He's got to make sure he gets it down. But once he starts rifling balls like that, you can tell that he's ready to go off.
Bautista behind 0-2. Nova and Bautista have a history. It goes back to 2010. Yankees were at Rogers Center. Nova threw one up and in on Bautista, knocked him down, and Bautista stepped back in the box and hit a home run. His 40th home run of that season.
Happened in the 3rd inning, and Bautista glared at him and then took him deep, which he is pretty good at when he gets knocked down.
That's the best response a hitter can have to a pitch up and in. Hit a long ball. Bautista would later on hit a home run off David Robertson in the 8th inning of that game, and that was the difference in that win for the Blue Jays. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Strike 3, the breaking ball, top of the zone. Pitching Bautista up works as that curveball was in there for strike 3.
Well, Nova has a pretty good curveball, and he's going to fool Jose. Maybe he had fastball in his mind just too many times. He goes back to that curveball. Matters of hitting just 108 against that curveball. He's been throwing it a little bit more in 2015, and he's getting better results.
2 outs. Edwin Encarnacion will step in. He goes after the first pitch. I want you to make a little note on the Bautista strikeout. It was a curveball. Put that in your memory bank. That might play later on in Bautista's favor. He is very good at setting up pitchers
and then looking for that pitch later in the ball game. He tried 3 times, Nova, to strike him out with that curveball. Finally, on the 3rd try, he was successful.
Encarnacion fouls it over the Blue Jays dugout. 0-2. David Price will make his 2nd start for the Blue Jays. His first one was terrific. 11 strikeouts in 8 innings against Minnesota on the holiday Monday. How much will Encarnacion feed off the Bautista at bat ahead of him?
Well, the Blue Jays, every one of them, not just Encarnacion, they do a good job of reading what that pitcher is trying to do to a hitter who's very similar. Like Bautista and Encarnacion, very similar type of hitters. He might be looking for a curveball. After what he saw Nova do to Bautista, he might be looking for it now with 2 strikes.
Donaldson is 4 for 4 in steal attempts. Doesn't run a lot, but he's very effective. There goes Donaldson. Ball is drilled into the seats. Donaldson got a good break at first, and it's not a bad time to run. Encarnacion's behind 1-2. You expect to get a breaking ball, and if it is a ball, it'll take a little bit longer for McCann to get the throw to second.
Enhancing the chances. Donaldson of picking up another stolen base. He hasn't been thrown out this season. Looked like Nova went with a fastball there. It was 93 and up.
Encarnacion's really seeing the ball well lately. Edwin last night hit a double in his first at bat, finished up 1 for 5. He's got a 10-game hit streak. Good numbers over those 10 games. 15 for 37. That's a 4.05 average. Nova doesn't have anything right now to get past Encarnacion. It's just a matter of whether he makes a mistake with one of those pitches.
Trying to sink the ball a couple of times, his fastball, and that time a curveball. And again, we talked about it in last night's game just a little bit with Edwin, how he's got very good plate coverage. And I think to get Edwin, he's going to have to go out of the strike zone to get him.
That one was off the end of the bat and it stung the hand of Encarnacion.
Brian McCann's going to go out there now and talk to Nova to say, hey, all right, we've thrown a little bit of everything now that we can. You have any ideas what you want to do here to try and get him out?
Sometimes a pitcher has a better perspective than the catcher because he can see the hitter and the plate coverage he has on different pitches. So when you're baffled a bit as a catcher, go out there and see if the pitcher's got a better idea than you. 1-2, 2 outs. Donaldson with a 1-out single. He's still at first. Took something off the breaking ball and gets the strikeout. Nova, a couple of strikeouts in the top half of the first. David Price will go to the mound here at Yankee Stadium and make his 14th start against New York here. Lineup for the New York Yankees. Right at the top of the order, Jacoby Ellsbury has been a tough customer for David Price. 18 for 51. That's a .353 average for Ellsbury. He's the table setter, top of this order. And then down in the 5th spot, it's Brian McCann. And look at his numbers against David Price. Lefty on lefty. No problem for McCann. 3 homers and 7 RBIs against the Blue Jays starter, David Price.
And that's an interesting stat because left-handed hitters to their career have hit .217 against Price in his career. Great start last time. This is his 23rd start of the season, second for the Blue Jays. Outstanding in his last one against Minnesota, picking up the win. 8 innings, 11 strikeouts. That's the 4th time this season that David Price has struck out at least 11 batters in a ball game.
Those are his numbers for the season, including his one start with the Blue Jays. He's 10-4 with a very good ERA. Price is sad, and he works out of that abbreviated windup. It's very similar to the set position. Here's Jacoby Ellsbury. He takes his strike. A lot's been made about Price and his last 2 starts against the Yankees. Last August 27th and April 22nd this year. In those 2 starts, he's allowed 16 earned runs in 4 1/3 to New York. But I'll give you a little caveat. April 22nd, he made that start in Detroit. It was 38 degrees and snowing. He threw 52 pitches in the first inning.
Yeah, and they didn't actually hit the ball very hard against him.
He's ahead of Ellsbury 0-2. Ellsbury got hit by a pitch in that start back in April to start the inning, and Price just had a lot of problems. It was cold, 25-mile-an-hour winds, and nobody looked like they wanted to play baseball. Price lasted just 2 1/3, gave up 8 runs on 10 hits.
And he had a great line also the other day when he was talking about that start. He said, I gave up 9 straight hits to start the ball game. 9 straight hits. He said the batting practice pitcher today won't go out there and give up 9 straight hits in batting practice.
There was a bloop single into center, one bloop right on the left field foul line. A lot of gorks and bleeders off the end of the bat. 0-2. Did he go? Yes, he did, according to Mike Molinsky down at third base. For Price, big strikeout to start the game. Defensively, the Blue Jays have tightened up their defense immeasurably. In the outfield, they've got great speed. Ben Revere, Kevin Pillar, and Jose Bautista. They really cover a lot of ground. The left side of the infield has become one of the best in baseball with Donaldson and Tulowitzki. Goins and Smoke on the right side, and the veteran Russell Martin behind the plate for David Price.
Yeah, you talk about tightening up the defense. How about the importance of these two guys right here? Ryan Goins on the right, the second baseman, and Troy Tulowitzki. Outstanding. Blue Jays turned a couple of very tough double plays in last night's ball game to help them win that game. Tulowitzki turned one in the middle of the diamond, and then Munenori Kawasaki was involved in the other one. Big double play.
Kawasaki turned that double play in the 9th after he came into the game as a pinch runner. That closed out the 9th inning and sent the game into extras. I saw Mooney this morning. I said, how many ground balls you take to get ready for each game? Oh, lots. many ground balls. He said, you like double play? I said, yeah, I really like the double play. 1-1 to Young. You know, David Price has got that start against the Yankees in his mind. He's trying to eliminate any thought of that here today. And also what he's trying to do is to extend the Blue Jays win streak to 7 straight.
He was talking about that yesterday. He says he's going to be very determined today that he's going to pitch better than he has in his last couple of starts against the Yankees. He says, I've given up more runs than I've gotten outs over his last couple of starts against New York.
See what he's done here at Yankee Stadium. This is his 14th career start at Yankee Stadium. He's got a very good 6-2 record. 3-1 Young. Foul tip into the glove of Russell Martin. You know, there are certain things that aces do. They extend win streaks. They pitch out of bases loaded, nobody out jams. They string together 15 straight retired. There are only a handful of aces in baseball, and the Blue Jays have one in David Price. It's a high fly ball. Pillar has plenty of room. 2 up, 2 down. Alex Rodriguez will step in with nobody on and 2 outs. He finished up 0 for 3 last night with a walk. What a year he's put together.
And the crowd is going to give a nice little hand to second that motion. 24 home runs and 63 driven in. We saw him a couple of years ago and thought that his career was over. But he has worked very hard to get back to where he is. And he and Mark Teixeira has meant a lot to this offensive team. The 3 and 4 hitters into this afternoon's lineup.
They sure have. And Mark Teixeira made his debut with the Texas Rangers while Alex Rodriguez was their shortstop. On the ground, Donaldson gets a nice hop, takes his time. Good start for David. David Price retires the side in order in the first. We played an inning in the Bronx. It's a scoreless game.
Share Everything customer and you're traveling to the States, you can now share your experience and stay connected with Roam Like Home. It will cost you just $5 a day. To find out, go to Rogers.com/Roam Like Home. And among the many Blue Jay fans here today is CBC anchor Peter Mansbridge, who is the legendary anchor, been around for many, many years. Guys, he tells me he has a ticket stub at home from the April 7th, 1977 Blue Jays game that he attended. So he's been a fan from way, way back. And he says that the excitement he's seeing across the country from doing the news is even bigger now than it was in 92 and 93.
Well, Barry, I think that's the case because in 92 and 93, there was a buildup that started in 85. It has been a long drought since the Blue Jays have played meaningful baseball in August and September. So I think a lot of newcomers have jumped on the bandwagon. This is Justin Smoke, the first baseman. Smoke trying to get something going. Boy, his presence in the defense makes a dramatic difference. Certainly helps out all the infielders with their throws.
Been watching a lot of film and working with hitting coach Brooke Jacoby on trying to shorten up that swing. He feels like he's not long when he swings the bat. When he makes contact and finishes his swing, he feels like he's long getting to the baseball. So they're trying to level out that swing and keep it on the hitting plane a little bit longer, and that'll help him drive the ball. Pitchers have been throwing him a lot of breaking balls, and when you have a long swing, those are the pitches that you tend to swing over the top of.
Smoke is 1 for 14 against the Yankees this season. But there's always that short porch that's very inviting here at Yankee Stadium. This is tapped back to Nova. Underhands to Teixeira. One down.
Let's take a look at the scouting report while I have a chance for this afternoon starter for the New York Yankees. It's Ivan Nova. He's going to use his fastball, and he's around 93 miles an hour. He'll use that 65% of the time. He'll follow that up with a nice little curveball, and it's a hammer. It's got a lot of break to it. It's a big one, and then he'll mix in a changeup. His fastball's got some movement on it. It sinks a lot. Batters are hitting over 300, but I think that for him, the key for Ivan Nova this afternoon is that curveball. He's going to have to throw it for strikes.
So far, so good. He jumps ahead of Russell Martin with a strike. Martin has just won for his last 16. He's had a roller coaster ride all season long, and for the season batting .254, he's had a productive season. 15 homers and 49 ribbies. 1-1 from Nova. Inside off the plate.
That one hit that he had was a good at bat in last night's game. Covered an outside breaking ball, and he hit it to center field. I think that's where he's got to stay. He's got to stay in the middle of the diamond. A lot of hits right back through the middle.
There's another curveball from Nova. The Blue Jays are going to have to shift gears and look for that hook here early in the game.
He's got one of the lowest opponent's batting average against versus that curveball. I told you it's 108. That's all that batters are hitting against that curveball. Changes speeds with it. It's almost like a looping curveball at times, and then they'll throw the hard breaking one to get the strikeouts.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Another bouncing ball back to Nova. Blue Jays offense has been clicking the last 10 games, hitting nearly 300. And look at the runs per game, 6 runs per game. And that bodes well for the pitchers. Keep your ERA around 4. You're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, keep it at 4 because they're scoring 6. They've won 9 out of those 10 games. Home run is back for the Blue Jays. But I think eventually they're going to have to play that small ball, if you will, or manufacture runs, because you're not going to hit home runs as constantly as the Blue Jays have over the last 10 ball games.
This is Ryan Goins. Goins has played every day with the injury to Devin Travis at second base. Goins had a big hit over the homestand, hit a home run to deep center field. He's gaining more confidence with the regular at-bats. And he's had some decent at-bats against lefty pitching when he's playing every day.
You know, that's where it all starts, I think, for Ryan Goins, is have a good approach at the plate. Give yourself a chance to get base hits. And right now you can see he's a little bit more compact. He looks a little bit more relaxed at the plate, and he's not getting under so many pitches and popping the ball up like he was earlier this season.
Well, you know what happens when you're an extra player like Goins was early in the season. You want to do something when you get a chance. You want to get up there and do something dramatic to get you some more at-bats. Well, now he didn't have to worry about that.
And that's the worst thing he can do is overswing.
1-2. Little tapper off the end of the bat. Gregorius coming from short, can't make the play. Goins has a 2-out single. Might have been another curveball. He hit right off the end of the bat. Didi Gregorius was deep at short, and he tried to barehand it. Couldn't make the play.
He hit it in a good spot right there. You couldn't roll the ball out there any better than that. Curveball down, and it's hit right into the ground. This is a do-or-die play for Gregorius, and he can't come up with it. This will make up for some of those line drives that Goins has hit that have been caught.
Yeah, they always tell hitters, hey, those line drives that are caught, they always even out, but I don't believe that's true. You might get here one in between, but it doesn't even out. 2-out hit, Kevin Pillar. Pillar has played every day, and he's had a good season. He's really been the anchor defensively in center field for the Blue Jays.
Got to be strong up the middle, don't you? And the Blue Jays now can say they are really strong defensively up the middle. Once Pillar was moved into center field, he's been great.
Well, now they have Tulowitzki and Goins up the middle, Pillar in center, and Russell Martin behind the plate. Tough to beat that. Great backbone of your team is your defense up the middle. 1-1 to Pillar. Bounced away from McCann, and Goins will move into scoring position. That'll go down as a wild pitch, but as a former catcher, that ball's got to be blocked. You call for a curveball, and the only place you're going to get beat is to your right. So get over and get in front of it. He tried to backhand it, and he didn't have a chance. You know, the Yankees have only scored 4 runs in their last 3 games, so runs are at a premium, and those extra 90 feet can be costly. Two and 1, 2 outs. Bounced foul by Pillar. You know, the Yankees have played 3 consecutive games with the final score 2-1. 3 or fewer runs scored at Yankee Stadium in 3 consecutive games. It's only the second time in the last 46 years there have been a streak of 3 straight games played with a total of 3 runs or less.
And that's coming off of a streak for the Yankees offensively where they were going crazy.
They had scored 90 runs in their previous 9 games, and then they went up against the knuckleballer Stephen Wright. And Joe Girardi said, I hate it when I have to play my regulars against knuckleball pitchers. It messes up their timing. R.E. Dickey, what a start he had last night. Dickey went 7 innings and on a run on 6 hits. He's been as hot as anybody in baseball since the All-Star break. 2-2 to Pillar. Now it's a full count. The Blue Jays scored first in last night's game. Donaldson hit the home run in the first, and the Yankees answered that with a Teixeira home run in the second. Neither team would have scored again until the top of the 10th.
You're facing another hot pitcher in Nova. He's won his last 3 decisions with an ERA under 3, so you can see runs could be at a premium this afternoon. 2 very good pitchers.
into the seats. Yeah, the numbers Pat was talking about over his last 3 starts, 3-0. ERA under 3, and opponents hitting just over 200 against Nova.
First time he has won 3 consecutive starts since 2012 when he won 5 straight starts.
Pilar's putting up a battle against Nova here.
He's getting that sinker just underneath the bat of the right-handed batters. They've been swinging over the top of it and tapping it foul down the third base line. Let's see if they make the adjustment and swing through the baseball now.
You know what? The Blue Jays are in the 8th spot in their order, and they've already forced Nova into 43 pitches. And it just wears on you as a pitcher and catcher. And McCann's going to go out to the mound again, and we saw this in the first inning. How do you get these guys out?
Yeah, what do you want to do? You shake me off, I go to this pitch, and then you shake me off again. You got a runner at second base. That's how he ended the first inning, by going out there to talk to him, and struck out Edwin Encarnacion.
With a slow breaking ball, he took a lot off that curveball to get it to strike out. Goins with an infield single. He advanced to second on the wild pitch by Nova.
No sign from McCann. Told him what he wanted.
Another foul ball. Well, the Blue Jays have the reputation of relaying location, relaying pitches from second base, so why take a chance? So McCann went out there and just verbally gave Nova the pitch he wanted.
And these teams play each other so many times within the division that everybody knows everything about each other.
Another strikeout. Pilar didn't think it was a good pitch. Nova gets out of another jam. The Blue Jays have stranded a pair through 2.
Literally came riding in on a scooter, and he's been known to be riding around on those. And of course, as soon as he got into the Blue Jays clubhouse for the first time, all the teammates who really look up and respect David Price said, "Where did you get that scooter?" Well, Price did not take very long to make sure that anyone on the team that wanted one, he ordered them. So today it was like Christmas Day. Guys opening boxes with their brand new scooters. There were at least 10 of them that arrived today in the Blue Jays clubhouse. I talked to Deanna Navarro, a recipient of one of those scooters, and he says, "Hey, most of us live very close to Rogers Center, so now instead of walking, we'll just ride our scooters." So I think guys maybe not getting the type of exercise they need, but they're certainly having a lot of fun getting to the ballpark.
They sure are having a lot of fun, and you're right, Barry. It was like Christmas morning in the clubhouse. They had big boxes, and I said, "What the heck are those things?" And everybody got a little electric scooter, courtesy of David Price.
I thought it was more like the Indianapolis 500 in there. Getting run over by those things.
Teixeira hits one in the air. Center fielder Kevin Pillar moves over and makes the catch. David Price is among the leaders in many categories. You look at the ERA leaders in the American League: Sonny Gray, Scott Kazmir, Dallas Keuchel, and then David Price just ahead of Chris Archer.
Look at all the left-handers up there: Kazmir, Keuchel, Price, dealer this season.
It's really interesting. Archer and Price are very close. They were both with Tampa Bay. Sonny Gray and Price both pitched at Vanderbilt. They're very close. There's a lot of communication going on between those ERA leaders. One out. This is Brian McCann, and let's watch this at bat. We mentioned McCann's great numbers against David Price. He's got a .563 career batting average against Price with 3 home runs. You would think that David Price will try something different against McCann today. You mentioned Price allowing a .217 batting average to lefty batters, but McCann's the exception.
Maybe trying to pump that fastball by him on the inner half. It just hasn't worked. The first 2 pitches away. Look like both of them breaking balls. Looks like they're going to stay away from his power once again.
Well, Price can do a lot of things. We saw him throw a lot of changeup in his first start against Minnesota. Checking with the umpire to make sure it's a 1-2 count. He's got a fastball that'll touch 97.
I thought that start against Minnesota, he used his fastball a lot early in the game and then changed after that inning where he got out, bases loaded, nobody out. And that changeup helped him stick around a little bit longer and helped him retire the last 15 batters in a row against Minnesota.
Full count to McCann. Price has retired the first 4 in order here, so that runs his streak to 19 straight batters retired, going back to his last start. Popped up. Russell Martin out from behind home plate, down into foul territory. He stepped on the bat, but he had his focus on that pop-up. So one thing you're always concerned about: where's my mask, where's the bat? But he was able to avoid any problem. He stepped on that bat but still made the catch.
He was very aware where that bat was. I don't know how he did it. McCann throws the bat right where he's going to land. Watch him look down. He knew exactly where that thing was and then danced around it. Actually stepped on it but straddled it, making that catch.
Tiptoed very lightly around that bat. 2 outs. Carlos Beltran, a switch hitter, batting right-handed against Price. Ball and a strike to Beltran. David Price, obviously, in this situation, Blue Jays won last night. He can wrap up the series with a win here this afternoon. And you're always conscious of trying to win series, especially this time of the season. I think Joe Girardi had Price on his mind last night when he went to his horses in the bullpen early in that ball game in the 7th inning.
Yeah, in a tie game. He went with it, trying to go for the juggler of the Blue Jays early in that game, trying to get the lead through his best relievers. Even with Adam Warren down, he was not available in yesterday's ball game. And once they got into extra innings, he had used his 3 best relievers, had to go to a rookie.
And once the Blue Jays got past Andrew Miller, the Blue Jays had the advantage as far as the bullpens go. Greg Gibson said the ball was out. You could hear him as he watched that ball sail away from Beltran. It's a full count. Changeup off the end of the bat, and we talk about the significance of this series. And the Blue Jays have really whittled into the Yankee lead. down to 3.5, and you can see just 5 games back in the loss column, and the addition of Troy Tulowitzki has sparked this hot streak.
Yeah, and they're just thinking about today's ball game. They're not thinking about anything else except just trying to do something to help today and win today.
Price loses Beltran, and that snaps a streak of 20 straight batters retired for David Price. A 2-out walk here in the second. So Chase Headley, the switch hitting third baseman, will step in with Beltran at first and 2 out. Headley grounded into a pair of double plays in last night's game. And the double play in the ninth, 5-4-3 double play. Donaldson got it started. Kawasaki with a good turn, and that closed out the ninth inning and sent the game into extra innings. David Price is now 29 years old. Tampa Bay's first pick, the first overall pick in the 2007 draft. Ground ball to Tulowitzki. Goes to Goins. The inning is over. 2-out walk doesn't hurt. We played 2 complete here in New York. Still no score.
Presented by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful Saturday afternoon in New York, and as is the case wherever the Blue Jays go, lots of Blue Jay fans on hand, and they have been treated to a terrific start to this series. Blue Jays won last night 2-1 in 10 innings as the Blue Jays pounded out a couple of home runs. Different makeup of the ball club, and Ben Revere will lead things off. He's part of the 5-man transition that Blue Jays went through prior to the July 31st trade deadline.
Note that the Blue Jays now starting to win those low-scoring ball games. Earlier in the season, they just couldn't seem to figure out a way to win those games when the offense was running into some tough pitching.
Now they have a guy like Revere who can get on base from that number 9 spot. He's starting out his Blue Jays career 0 for 13. He's 6 for 11 since.
You know what I've noticed about Ben Revere? We've only watched him play for about a week now. He's not afraid to hit with 1 strike. He'll go up there and work the count, try and get a pitch to hit, but really make that pitcher throw a lot of pitches.
Well, Ben Revere grew up in the Minnesota Twins organization, and one of his mentors was the great Rod Carew. And he always talked about staying up the middle, opposite field, don't overswing, stay within yourself. And discount the home run. Bouncing ball up the middle. Brendan Ryan is a terrific defender. He's at second tonight. Makes a nice play. Ryan making his 9th start at second base.
Well, you know, we were talking earlier about the effect of all of these new players, or we're going to call it the Tulo effect right here. Since the Troy Tulowitzki deal, look what the Blue Jays have done. They have carved into that lead, 8-game lead before Troy got here. Now it's down to 3.5. He has solidified the defense. He has added some punch at the top of that lineup.
The Blue Jays have whittled down 4.5 games since Tulowitzki has joined the ball club. And, you know, everybody speculates about what the Blue Jays' goals should be. And they say, well, you shouldn't worry about the Yankees. Well, I think it's a totally different case than that. You always shoot to win your division. Always. Until you've been eliminated.
Hey, everybody that I have talked with the organization, they're not hoping to get in the playoffs via the wild card. They would like to run down the Yankees, and they would like to guarantee a 3 out of 5.
Absolutely. Makes all the difference in the world. It's a roll of the dice. You play a 1-game series, and you don't have to ask anybody other than Josh Donaldson. He was up in that wild card game by 4 runs to Kansas City and ended up losing in extra innings.
Late. It was late, too.
12 innings. Tulowitzki bends back from that breaking ball. It's 1-2 to lead off man.
You know what? And I think just ask Josh Donaldson about a team that's really good that stumbles towards the end of the finish line. Last year, I thought the A's were the best team in the American League for the first half. And then something happened. They just stopped hitting.
Another breaking ball strikeout. 4 strikeouts for Nova. Well, ever since Troy Tulowitzki has been inserted into the top of the order, for some reason Josh Donaldson has caught fire. In those 10 games, Donaldson has hit 6 home runs, hit .375, and has got an OPS almost at 1.5. Plus the fact the Blue Jays have won 9 of those 10 games. It's interesting how the lineup really works as an overall 1 through 9 unit.
It's a little different, granted, with the changes. Still a little bit too early to say if it's better or not. Because they were pretty good before that, leading the league, leading everybody and everything.
No, he's got the good curveball early in this game. Blue Jays have to make an adjustment now as they're going through their second time through the order. Greg Gibson called to Donaldson for the swing. So it's 1-2 now.
It's a good curveball. And he's throwing it down in the strike zone. He hasn't hung one yet today.
I like the word yet.
I'm always optimistic, right?
Blue Jays got so much power, it only takes a couple of hangers and they can turn things around. A ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Calls him for a swing again. Donaldson called out for swinging at strike 3. A couple more strikeouts for Nova. He has punched out 5 through 3 innings. break. Greg Gibson, the home plate umpire. This is Donaldson's second strike of his last at bat. He's called for the swing by Gibson. Donaldson didn't agree with it, and then he would subsequently strike out. They had a long little discussion about it, very camouflaged, and Donaldson turns to Gibson and says, "Are you sure?" And then Donaldson was called for the next swing on a check swing. And John Gibbons came out just like he was going to have a conversation in the park, just kind of strolled out to the dirt. And then Greg Gibson says, "What are you talking about? You talking about balls and strikes? See ya."
That was quick. You know, he came out very nonchalant, very slow, like he just wanted to talk to him about something. I guess as soon as he mentioned balls and strikes or the strike zone, that was it. So Gibby's day is through.
So John Gibbons came out to discuss the situation with Greg Gibson, and home plate umpire threw him out of the game. I think Gibbons was just trying to give some support to Josh Donaldson. He'd made 2 check swings and was called for a swing on both. Didi Gregorius behind quickly, 0-2.
Do you find umpires have a quick hook lately?
Kind of seems like that, doesn't it?
It does. Back in the old days, I don't want to keep talking about the olden days. It seemed like they'd let you have your say. You know, just tell you what you thought and let you go on your way.
Gregorius out by half a step. Good throw from Tulowitzki. I agree with you, and I think there's a couple of factors that go into that. You can see John Gibbons, once he was ejected, really got into the face of Greg Gibson, and they have an extended argument after the fact. Gibson's probably thinking, well, you know what, I'm going to get fined anyway, so I'm going to give him peace of mind. But I think the instant replay has created a little more tension, just because you don't have a chance to go out and argue with anything. And secondly, and I've said this for a while, I think the fact that there are no league umpires has really created no relationships, because you might not see a team over the course of a summer more than once or twice.
If people aren't familiar with it, there used to be American League umpires and National League umpires. There was no crossover. Now you might see an umpiring crew in April and you won't see him again until August.
Yeah.
So there's not those personal relationships that you have when you see guys that often.
This is the number 9 hitter, Brendan Ryan. Yeah, I think that's really the case. And when I was playing, of course, we had American League umpires. And, you'd see Ron Luciano, and you'd see some of the veterans, Nestor Shylock. You'd see him 5 or 6 times a year. So you knew the umpires, and the umpires knew your team. They also knew your pitchers, what they threw, what tendencies they had. Ryan lines it to center. Pilar takes it about head high, 2 down here in the 3rd. But I think now umpires you just don't see very often. So, I could scream and holler at Nestor Shylock all afternoon and never get thrown out of the game because we had a mutual respect for one another.
And you could question the strike zone. And now it seems like anytime you question the strike zone one time, see you.
I had a great relationship with the late Marty Springstead, who was a longtime Major League umpire. And every time he would call one that he thought was a little bit borderline, he'd go, "Strike."
That was the key, right?
That was the key.
You knew.
I knew whenever he said, he wasn't really sure about it. And then over the years, I got to the point and said, maybe it wasn't a strike. Come on.
Maybe you had to move your glove a little bit closer to the plate, huh?
Marty was one of the best after-dinner speakers in baseball, and he told great stories. And he always told a great story about Earl Weaver and an argument they had. He always used to tell Earl, could have been a ball, could have been a strike. Jacoby Ellsbury batting with 2 outs. Misses that high heater. It's 2 balls and a strike. Ron Luciano, the longtime American League umpire, used to tell me, "Yeah, that's right. You take it until you see a good one you want to swing at."
I'd like to hit with that guy behind the plate.
He knew I couldn't hit. So he was never going to call a borderline pitch on me.
He just liked you.
Yes, he did. David Price working in the bottom of the 3rd. It's a scoreless game. Ball out. Ellsbury will take the second walk issued by Price this afternoon, a 2-out ball. The Yankees have a couple of guys top of the order, and today Brett Gardner's not in the lineup because the lefty Price is on the mound. But in Ellsbury and Gardner, they got some guys that can run, but they haven't been running, and especially after the All-Star break like they have in the past. Ellsbury has 14 stolen bases, but just 2 since his return from the disabled list.
Brett Gardner's last steal is June 12th at Baltimore. You don't want to run. It's kind of like the same predicament that the Blue Jays are in. You don't want to run in front of all the big bats, because if you get thrown out, you know, you could just as easily pop one out of the ballpark as a hitter. So Joe Girardi is going to throw up that stop sign a lot of times.
David Price is very good at neutralizing the running game. There's a slide step changeup. I like that pitch really well, because the slide step shows the batter that the pitcher's concerned about the base runner, but the changeup is counterintuitive, because you'd think slide step fastball, but he throws a slide step changeup. Price right back ahead 0-2.
Maybe that's why he threw that slide step changeup. You gotta use it. And if you slide step like that, I think the runner thinks, "Ooh, he's trying to be quick. It's got to be a fastball." And right now, he's got to put him away. 0-2, 2 outs.
Chris Young playing in place of Brett Gardner with Price on the mound this afternoon. Pushed him back with a fastball. He still can touch 97 with ease. Just a little reminder to Ellsbury that I know you're over there. Don't get too anxious.
It looks like he was trying to walk off the base a little bit more that time. Ellsbury trying to get a walk to him lead. Price has got to make him stop.
Two and two now to Young. Scoreless game. Ivan Nova and David Price. The Blue Jays have 2 hits. The Yankees don't have a hit yet. Trying to check his swing and fouls it into the seats. We mentioned there was a lot made about David Price's last 2 starts against the Yankees, going back to last August while he was pitching for the Tigers, and then an early April start. He pitched a combined 4 1/3 innings and allowed 16 earned runs. So that'll turn your career numbers a little bit sour.
And he is determined to have a good afternoon against the Yanks.
Owens comes in and makes the play. The inning is over. Ellsbury is stranded. We'll move to the 4th. 0-0 ball game.
out-of-market regular season game live or on demand in True HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and much more. It also includes a free At-Bat 15 subscription. Watch baseball at home, at the office, or on the go. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. And as fans scoreboard watch, this is the perfect time to have that MLB.TV premium, Buck.
It sure is, Barry. There are a lot of things going on, of course. How about the Boston Red Sox sending Mike Napoli to the Texas Rangers, and Napoli's in the lineup for Texas. They had a few moves. Michael Bourne and Nick Swisher went to the Atlanta Braves for Chris Johnson. And you know what? Everybody thinks that just because we passed the July 31st trade deadline, there are still deals to be made. It just takes a little more creativity, and you've got to wait till those players pass through waivers.
I don't think the Blue Jays are finished. I think they still might try and tweak this roster.
Oh, I think the Blue Jays are looking to add to their roster. Not a whole lot of things you really need, but we talked about possibly a right-handed hitting middle infielder, a right-handed hitting good defensive outfielder
with a little speed.
Trying to put together the perfect roster. Bautista fouls it up. Again, the Blue Jays have elevated the starters' pitch count early in this ballgame. Nova has now thrown 60 pitches with nobody out here in the fourth.
See how that affects the Yankees as we get a little bit deeper if the Blue Jays continue to have these types of at-bats, these long at-bats.
Boy, Nova's got a good hook today. This is one of the best outings I've seen him utilize that great curveball. That's 6 strikeouts, including 3 in a row.
And twice on Jose Bautista. He's throwing that curveball in a good spot. Look at that thing down and away to all these right-handed batters. We have not seen him elevate one of those pitches yet today.
So Bautista is down twice on the curveball. Edwin Encarnacion had an extended bat his first time up and struck out. Look out. Up and in.
He's just been dive bombing that fastball on the inner half against the Blue Jays early in the count, like this one right here. And they have not been able to hit the ball squarely. They've tapped a lot of balls down the left field line, and then he finishes them off with that curveball.
Ball and a strike. Just keep making notes. Early on, the curveball has been the most effective pitch for Nova. Now, good fastball. He jumps ahead of Encarnacion.
Looked like Edwin might have been looking for the curveball right there. Took a fastball right down the middle.
Little looper, and that's going to bounce in front of Ryan. He is able to make the play on 1 hop, 2 down.
Make your renovation a cut above during the DIY Expert Sale. Only at Home Building Center and Home Hardware Building Center.
Great shot of Yankee Stadium and the Hudson River. Just off in the background, Justin Smoke. Justin grounded out to the pitcher his first time up. Blue Jays have 2 singles. Donaldson with a single to center, and Goins an infield base hit. Those are the only 2 hits of the ball game.
One was a broken bat hit. The other one was right off the end of the bat. So hitters having a little bit different outcome than we all thought coming into this series.
Yeah, these 2 teams came into the series as the best 2 offensive clubs in the American League. So far, they've scored 3 runs.
All on 3 swings of the bat.
3 home runs. Ball ran off the plate. Might have been outside, but Nova gets the call. Teixeira's home run was his 30th of the season. Same for Donaldson in last night's game. Bautista's game winner was his 25th of the season. There's a fly ball to right. Beltran is there. The inning is over. Nova has found a groove. He's retired 7 straight since the Goins single. In the 4th inning, and what a career Alex Rodriguez has had. When you look at the lead company, players with 3,000 or more hits and 600 or more home runs, there's only 3 of them in baseball history.
Pretty amazing. I mean, anytime you can put your name in with some of these elite players, Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, players with 3,000 hits and 600 home runs, Alex Rodriguez right in there. You know what Alex has also? He has speed. He has got 323 career stolen bases. Doesn't run anymore, obviously. But when he was a younger player, he did.
Came up with Seattle July 8, 1994 as an 18-year-old. Made his debut at Fenway Park against the Red Sox. Has got a chance to get down at will in front of Ben Revere. Alex Rodriguez gets the first hit for the Yankees, a leadoff single here in the 4th.
Didn't hit it very hard. It looked like David Price beat him with a fastball. It's off the label, but enough to get it into the outfield for the Yankees' first hit. And he will add to that hit total for his career.
Of course, Alex Rodriguez, a 3-time MVP, a 14-time All-Star. Mark Teixeira flied out to center field his first time up. Blocked by Russell Martin. Blue Jays turned 3 double plays in last night's game. Boy, the defense has been sharp lately. They got Alex Rodriguez on a 4-6-3 double play in the 8th. That erased a leadoff single by Brett Gardner. Tulowitzki was involved in 2 of those 3 double plays last night. It's his hooked foul into the seats. Teixeira's been a hot hitter. He's a guy you really got to keep your eye on. He had 2 hits in the game last night in his first 2 at-bats. Boy, he's swinging good, Pat.
Yeah.
You made the point that Teixeira is finally healthy after dealing with an assortment of injuries the last few years.
Hand injuries, wrist injuries. And he's finally healthy, and he's looking like the Mark Teixeira that we saw in his younger days. That home run yesterday, his 30th home run, that's the 9th time that he has had at least 30 home runs in a season. There's only 3 other active players with 9 or more 30 home run seasons.
Teixeira called out on strikes as Price finds that outside corner. That's just the second strikeout for David Price this afternoon. Comes into this game fourth in the American League in strikeouts.
Paints him. Keeps that fastball away, cuts it onto the outside corner. The other three players with at least 9 home run seasons. His teammate Alex Rodriguez has 14. Pujols with 13 and Miggy with 9. This time Teixeira goes down.
Brian McCann popped out to the catcher, Russell Martin. David Price now with 151 strikeouts for the season. That's good for fourth place in the American League behind Chris Sale, Chris Archer, and Corey Kluber. They appealed down to Mike Malinsky, the third base umpire, but he said no swing from McCann.
Really looks like McCann is looking for something that he can pull. I mean, he's trying to open up that front shoulder a little bit quick. Something that he can yank to right field.
Boy, he had a good cut in that pitch. McCann is a pull hitter, and the Blue Jays are moving their defense around once again. They had the shift on. But now with 2 strikes, they rotate the players. Donaldson moves from third base over to the second base position. He's on the edge of the outfield grass.
Very interesting. He was playing shortstop, if you will, and it was Tulowitzki and Goins on the right side. Now with 2 strikes, it's Josh Donaldson.
Well, I think they want to keep the double play combination in order with Tulowitzki at short and Goins near the bag at second, figuring that McCann will cut down his swing with 2 strikes. He's trying to lift. He got that ball in on his hands, but he's got one thing on his mind right now.
That short right field wall here at Yankee Stadium. Try to get something airborne. We might see them try to go away now, to pitch away from his power.
Price and Martin really clicked in their first matchup on Monday. Martin did a lot of video work to get up to speed on David Price. He hooks this one foul. Hal McRae, my former teammate in Kansas City, used to talk about hitters like McCann right now, and he would say they're in a deep bend. They're trying to hit one 9 miles because they're bent over at the waist trying to lift it. McCann has 31 home runs here at Yankee Stadium. Price beats him with that fastball up and in. Really tied him up. He couldn't extend his arms at all.
He actually missed his spot. They wanted to go fastball down and away. Look where Russell Martin is set up, and he misses up and in. But he's got enough of that fastball to get it by a good fastball hitter, and Brian McCann.
It's another great illustration of pitchers and the fact that they make more mistakes than they might admit to. He wanted that ball down and away and got away with a mistake up and in. So Carlos Beltran worked Price for a 2-out walk in the second. He goes after the first pitch. This is a looper that's going to reach the seats. The Blue Jays trailed the Yankees in the AL East by 3.5 games. Toronto has won 6 straight, trying to extend that win streak. Price has so many weapons to attack you with, and it doesn't hurt that he throws 97. But he grew up with the Tampa Bay Rays and was around James Shields a lot, and saw from Shields the value of that changeup and how important that pitch can be.
You start going through the lineups like you have to 2, 3, 4 times, better be able to change and do something different that third time through the lineup.
Price, we have seen it in his career, how quickly he can make adjustments. He just missed badly with that last pitch up and away to Beltran. Let's see how he adjusts from that last pitch. There's a single into center field. Pilar gets over and plays it on the hop. 2-out single for Beltran. He's been on base twice.
You know, just like Buck, when you miss your spot and you end up getting a strikeout like you did his last time, sometimes you can throw a pretty good pitch and it gets hit. It's a pretty good pitch right there, down underneath the knees, but with 2 strikes, Beltran's got to be swinging because it's too close to take. And instead of popping that ball up or rolling over on it, he singles to center field.
So A-Rod is at second. He's in scoring position. First Yankee to reach second against Price this afternoon. The Blue Jays have only had 1 base runner reach second. That was Goins into second. Headley goes after the first pitch. He's an experienced hitter that treats these at bat just like an at bat with nobody on, very relaxed, and he's keen in his focus. Price missed 2 balls and a strike.
The Yankee lineup is full of veteran hitters, and they're not going to get intimidated just because David Price is on the mound. They're going to do their thing, go up there and work the count, foul off some tough pitches, and have some professional at bats.
And Looper into center. Pilar is there. The inning is over. The Yankees will strand a pair. They get their first 2 hits of the afternoon. We'll go to the 5th. No score in New York. Time now for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
That 30 years ago, the Jays made the postseason for the first time. It was 1985 in the outfield, Bell, Barfield, and Mosby. Well, we will celebrate that anniversary with a bobblehead commemorating one of the best outfields in Blue Jays history. First 20,000 fans will receive one of these amazing bobbleheads on Sunday, August 16th, when the Blue Jays take on the Yankees at 1:07. The pregame ceremony starts at 12:45, so arrive early. Buck?
Thank you very much, Barry. That'll be a great celebration of that first division championship in 1985. Homegrown talent. Young players Barfield and Mosby. George Bell was a Rule 5 player that came from the Philadelphia Phillies.
That's where I thought the Blue Jays were ahead of everybody else back in those days.
Russell Martin gets hit by the first pitch here in the 5th. He'll go to first base. Nova coming up and in. Blue Jays probably looking for a lot of breaking balls. Martin hanging in there and gets clipped by that inside fastball.
Well, I guess if you're going to get hit, that's the way to get hit, right? Right on your jersey.
So it's a scoreless game. We're in the 5th. Ryan Goins, the number 7 hitter in the lineup. Goins has done a good job utilizing that sacrifice bunt. He has 6 sac bunts this season. That leads the Blue Jays. Chase Headley is looking for the bunt at third. Goins turns and bunts it foul. Blue Jays have 25 sacrifice bunts this season, something they haven't done a lot of in the past. And even though they have this powerful lineup, John Gibbons feels like, especially in the bottom of the order, you sacrificing out to get a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, you got to know where you are in your lineup. And the thinking here is if he is still bunting, I'm going to have 2 shots to try and drive a guy in from second base. They did him a favor by hitting that first batter of the inning, so why not try and get him quickly in the scoring position?
DeMarlo Hale is the acting manager. In case you're just joining us, John Gibbons got thrown out at the end of the top half of the 3rd inning by home plate umpire Greg Gibson. Owens bunts it out in front of home. McCann will go to second, and they'll get Russell Martin. Goins bunts it too close to home plate, and McCann quickly out from behind home throws to second to force out Martin.
It's such a tough play for a catcher. You got to get rid of that mask and then find the baseball and make a split decision like that. Any kind of hesitation from back there and the guy's going to be safe. But McCann comes out very quickly. He's been through the wars before. He knows what it's like. Blue Jays just couldn't get that bunt out of the dirt area. McCann was all over that one.
So 1 out. Goins is at first for Kevin Pillar. Fastball strike to Pillar. Pillar was called out on strikes his first time up. Way outside with the curveball. 1-1 is a traditional hit and run count. A lot of managers will put the hit and run on with a 1-1 count. Pillar with another long look down at Louis Rivera at third.
Let's try to make something happen offensively. Maybe you get a hole open up with one of those infielders covering second base.
Breaking ball. Pillar turned to Greg Gibson after that pitch was called a ball. He said, "That's the same pitch you called me out on before. That's a good call, though."
I hope he didn't say that because he might have been thrown out. But they are talking about it.
Exactly. He turned and said to Gibson, "Hey, that's a ball. Good call." Unlike that call you made earlier. 2-1, 1 out. There goes Goins. A hit and run is on, and Pillar gets a piece of it.
Sometimes you have to push it offensively. When a guy is in a groove like Ivan Nova is in this afternoon, Blue Jays recognize that.
You know what? And we have talked about the presence of Tulowitzki in the #1 spot, and it had an impact in the game last night where they were able to utilize the bunt with an opportunity to get Tulowitzki to the plate with a runner in scoring position, even though there might be 2 outs. Jam shot to Scherer will flip to Nova covering first, and Goins gets into scoring position.
That's very interesting. I thought he had a shot at getting that lead runner.
He sure did. I thought for sure Teixeira would turn and fire to second. He got to it very quickly. Teixeira's got a very accurate arm, but he didn't even think about going to second base.
Didn't even look at second base. Watch it. The ball hit directly at him. Watch where he catches it. Goins is only about halfway, and then as soon as the play was over, you can see Teixeira looking back and asking the shortstop Gregorius, did I have a shot? And he did. So the Blue Jays will take it. It almost acts like a sacrifice bunt.
So Ben Revere now, the number 9 hitter, he grounded out to second base. Goins in scoring position for a second time this afternoon. And curveball bends in there for a strike. Another tight ball game. The hits are even at 2 apiece.
Even if there is a hit to the outfield, Buck, they are very shallow with Revere at the plate. If he does hit a ball into the outfield, you hope that the outfielders have to move to go get it. No guarantee that a base hit to left field is going to score Goins.
Well, and Luis Rivera, the third base coach, is encouraging Goins to get a big lead because that outfield is playing so shallow. He said both the infielders are away from you, so get a big lead. Foul back over the screen. You know, a lot of casual fans think a third base coach is just a traffic cop saying stop and go. That's not the case at all. Rivera's got to gauge where those outfielders are. He's got to keep an eye on the depth of the infielders. Then he will let Goins recognize how much of a lead he can get at second. And then you got to make a quick judgment as to the flight of the ball.
Yeah, all the while knowing the inning, the out, where you are in the lineup, the score, everything.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Back to the screen off the glove of McCann, and Goins goes to third base.
Well, that'll certainly help.
Second wild pitch charged to Nova. That looked like a breaking ball. It just sailed up and away, and McCann, expecting it to break, was late getting the glove up. Boy, now Goins has to be reminded of the possibility of that curveball in the dirt.
See if he makes the adjustment. If he throws a curveball here, if he bounces it.
Ball is driven to left. Young is back, and he makes the catch. He was in shallow, but he's able to retreat and make the catch. The inning is over. The Blue Jays have stranded 3 in this scoreless game.
Is done, and I'm joined by Shai Davidi. And Shai, that is indeed the case. Tell us about the move the Blue Jays has just made.
Well, they picked up middle infielder Cliff Pennington from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are going to send over some cash. Blue Jays are going to send over a minor leaguer. And this is really about giving them more middle infield depth. Devin Travis isn't recovering from his shoulder as quickly as the Blue Jays had anticipated or hoped, and they want to protect themselves. Cliff Pennington is a switch hitter. They can pair him with Ryan Goins at second base. They can use him as a backup to Troy Tulowitzki. Gives him more options, guy who can run as well.
Blue Jays are carrying 8 relievers right now, but they also have Munenori Kawasaki as an extra infielder. Which way do you see them going?
Well, I mean, Pennington's going to play the same role as Kawasaki, so would expect that Kawasaki would be the move. That's not official yet. The trade still has to be finalized, which should happen in the next little while.
Well, there you go, guys. The Blue Jays still at it, trying to add pieces as Shai Davidi just broke. Cliff Pennington, now a member of the Toronto Blue Jays. Guys?
Cliff Pennington and Josh Donaldson were teammates in Oakland, and Pennington, big part of that division championship ball club they had in 2012. They lost to the Tigers in 2012 in the 5-game ALDS, but Pennington had a decent series at 286, and he is a terrific defender that can play third, short, and second base.
That was the whole idea, where they wanted to get a guy. He's a switch hitter, which is really interesting. They were looking for somebody who could hit right-handed, play multiple positions, maybe play the outfield if they have to. And he's a veteran. He's been around.
Pennington had a 29 stolen base season for the A's in 2010. That's fouled off the foot of D.D. Gregorius. So the tweaking of the Blue Jays roster appears to be continuing, and we talked about the addition of an extra player on the infield, a little more versatility. Pennington was a regular player 2010, 11, and 12 for Oakland. Then he went to Arizona in the last few years. He's been kind of a part-time role player in Arizona.
And here's another thing that we know about him, Buck. He's got excellent makeup. He is a clubhouse leader.
Fouled into the glove of Russell Martin. That's a strikeout for David Price.
That pitch was pretty nasty, right underneath the bat. Good job by Russell Martin. Hold on to it. 4 strikeouts this afternoon for David Price.
We're being informed that the Blue Jays are going to make an announcement of the Pennington deal. It's Pennington in cash for a young shortstop, Darl Lugo, who was in the minor leagues. So the Blue Jays continue to add to this roster with postseason aspirations. Brendan Ryan goes after the first pitch. Tulowitzki looking up into the bright sky. He stays with it. 2 up, 2 down here in the 5th. Well, you made a great point about the character, and it seems as though Alex Anthopoulos, every deal he makes, that's a major consideration, is tell me something about the character of this guy. And Cliff Pennington was a former first-round pick of the Oakland A's in 2005. He played collegiately at Texas A&M University, College Station, Texas. So it's quite an assortment of talent that Blue Jays have gathered.
And when you acquire a guy this late in the season on a team that's really hot, you better find the right guy who's going to mix in with the team that's already here.
And you can bet Alex Anthopoulos got Josh Donaldson off into the corner and say, tell me a little bit about your former teammate, Cliff Pennington.
You look at the scouting report, it says he's a student of the game, loves the game of baseball. Here's the quote on him. He is a gritty, nose-in-the-dirt baseball rat and a true gamer, so we'll see.
Sounds like you're talking about Josh Donaldson, or Troy Tulowitzki, or Kevin Pillar, or Russell Martin. Two and 0, Jacoby Ellsbury takes a strike. Two of the heavyweights in Major League Baseball going toe-to-toe, the Yankees and the Blue Jays. Blue Jays trail New York 3.5 games in the East. It's a little pop-up behind second base. Goins gets out to the outfield and makes the catch. Easy inning for David Price. We'll go to the 6th. There's no score in New York. broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Terrific game. The two pitchers tossing a shutout through 5 innings. Top of the order for the Blue Jays. It'll be Tulowitzki, Donaldson, and Bautista facing Ivan Nova for the 3rd time this afternoon. The Blue Jays, Donaldson had a single in the first. Goins an infield single in the second. For the Yankees, Alex Rodriguez and Carlos Beltran both had singles in the 4th. That's been it. Tough pitching today.
Yeah, the only 2 teams in the American League who have scored 500 runs this season are these 2. So you figure when this series started, it was going to be a pinball type of offense, a lot of runs scored, but the pitching has dominated so far.
Well, it sure has, and it goes back to the old adage, good pitching will dominate good hitting, and we have seen good pitching in this series. Josh Donaldson, single and a strikeout. He's going to be next. Two and 1. Blue Jays trying to get something going against Nova here in the 6th. Ground ball. Gregorius deep at short. Sets his foot, and Teixeira with the good stretch. Josh Donaldson did not have an RBI against the Yankees this season until he stepped to the plate in the 1st inning.
Pretty good pitch from Eovaldi down and away, and Josh puts it in the 1st row in right field for that 30th home run. And he razzed you a little bit there this morning on that call.
How about that? We walked into the clubhouse early this morning, and Donaldson came right over to us and looked at me and said, "Are you all right?" I go, "What do you mean?" He said, "I hit a home run last night. It was like you were Harry Doyle, Major League, like you didn't even care." I said, "Josh, I got to be honest with you. I didn't see it." It was twilight, and I ball off the bat. I knew he hit it good, but I wasn't really sure where it was. He says, "You do such a good job to get excited." And I'm thinking, what did I do? Buck doesn't even care if I hit a home run.
I thought you were picking on him a little bit.
Two balls and no strikes, 1 out.
You know, that's the kind of guy he is. I mean, he keeps everybody loose.
Doesn't he? He never lets you get too impressed with yourself. Shows bunt and takes a strike. 2 and 1. Bautista will follow. We mentioned Donaldson. That was his first RBI against New York this season. Same for Bautista. He came into the series after 6 games. Neither one of them had driven in a run against New York. Well, they made their first RBIs count as they won 2-1. Curveball now. They are seeing that breaking pitch a little bit better here in the middle innings.
Josh checked his swing twice in his last at bat, and that time saw the curveball big time.
Nova has 6 strikeouts to this point. He is 1 behind his season high. He has struck out 7 in 2 of his previous outings. Donaldson takes ball 4.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful Saturday afternoon in New York. Great shot of the big Hudson River. People out and about all around the city today. Bautista has struck out twice, once looking, once swinging. both on the curveball. Nova left it up, but it was off the plate outside.
Remember, we were talking earlier about the Blue Jays having some pretty good at-bats and what it would do for them late in the game. Well, here you are. You're late in the game, and that pitch count has gone up. The season high for Nova in pitches. Remember, he's coming off of Tommy John surgery last season. He didn't make his first start till the end of June. Is 94. That's his season high. This next pitch is going to be number 94.
Breaking ball in the dirt.
So maybe he's getting close to the end. Joe Girardi's got some decisions to make. It's a bullpen that's been really worked a lot lately. A lot of close ball games.
Looked like Girardi had just talked to Larry Rothschild about getting somebody moving now. Bullpen coach Gary Tuck has stepped out of view. 2-1 to Bautista. Inside, he didn't swing. Marty Foster down at first. Bautista does a great job of keeping that bat close to his shoulder, even though he might commit with the body.
And you have to distinguish if this is a swing or if he's just trying to get out of the way. And he started to swing, held up, and then the rest of that was him just trying to duck out of the way of that inside pitch.
Base hit to left field. Donaldson will go to second base as Chris Young gets it back in. A one-out walk and a single. Blue Jays putting something together here in the sixth.
3-1 fastball. You can get ready and unload on it. That ball's elevated. Maybe Nova's getting a little tired. That ball's starting to creep up just a little bit more, and Jose has a pretty good swing on that ball.
Adam Warren has started to loosen up for the Yankees. Justin Wilson, Dylan Betances, and Andrew Miller have both pitched in back-to-back games. Warren is first up for New York. Don't forget the Blue Jays have the additional presence of Aaron Sanchez in their bullpen today. His suspension has been served. He's active. Edwin Encarnacion 0 for 2 with the strikeout. You know, it wasn't long ago that the Blue Jays were at a distinct disadvantage when you match up bullpens. It's not the case anymore.
They've got some depth. They've got some experience. They've got strike throwers.
Power.
And power.
Third at bat, Encarnacion zeroed in. Bautista and Donaldson, they were both zeroed in their third at bat. So now Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, has popped out of the Yankee dugout. Well, obviously, this is a big game. Blue Jays won last night 2-1, and they have closed ground on the Yankees. They're only 3.5 back of New York in the AL East. 5 games back in the loss column, and those numbers are very, very encouraging for Blue Jay fans.
Yeah, they've chopped off, what, 4.5 games over the last week, 10 days, something like that, and they're hard charging. And, you know, you'd rather be the leader. I'll tell you, from experience, when you feel somebody in your rearview mirror, I mean, the heat gets pretty hot.
Well, especially since those people in the rearview mirror have been fortified with the presence of David Price, Troy Tulowitzki, LaTroy Hawkins, Mark Lowe, and Ben Revere. And now you can add Cliff Pennington to that list. Blue Jays are on the verge of making it official that they've acquired Cliff Pennington from Arizona. 2-0 to Encarnacion. Breaking ball, now 3-0. We have seen John Gibbons give his sluggers the green light on the 3-0 recently.
Yeah, if you feel comfortable, go ahead and let it go. You can certainly reach the seats. This is going to be pitch number 100.
Upstairs, ball 4. That'll load the bases. 2 walks and a single here off of Nova in the 6th. Now the bases are loaded for Justin Smoak. Smoak doesn't have a grand slam to his credit. Be a nice place to get number one.
Get it up in the air and get it into those seats in right field. He spent a lot of time looking at video of his swing this morning, trying to flatten out that swing.
Gets the breaking ball on the first pitch and pulls it foul.
Felt like that swing was a little bit too long. He's been swinging a lot of pitches, and when you've got that long swing, the curveball and the slider, those are the pitches that you have trouble with.
Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion on base. Fly ball deep to right. This ball is high. This ball is gone. Grand slam home run. Justin Smoak, his first career grand slam home run at Yankee Stadium.
You know who the happiest guy in the ballpark is right now? Brooke Jacoby. Those two, I was watching them this morning. They were working on looking at the video and trying to be a little bit shorter as he started his swing to help keep that bat on the hitting plane a little bit longer and drive through the baseball. You put the work in like that in the video game, then you go and put it in the cage, and then it's going to show up in the game.
10th home run of the season for Smoak, his first career grand slam, and he's knocked Ivan Nova out of the ball game. Blue Jays have taken a 4-0 lead. Oh for 2. Nobody had scored, and he had never hit a grand slam home run until this beautiful swing off Ivan Nova.
Yeah, teams have been feeding him a lot of off-speed pitches, change-ups, and curveballs, and you put the work in, and you get rewarded. Anytime you put the work in, you're going to get it out of it, what you put into it, and he made the adjustment, got that hanging curveball, and got it into the air for his first grand slam.
4th grand slam of the season for the Blue Jays. He joins Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, and Devin Travis in that category. 4-0 Jays. Adam Warren into the game on in relief. Warren, his 26th appearance.
Here are the numbers for Warren. He was a swing man earlier. He started a few games for him, pitched out of the bullpen, 6-5, 340 earned run average. He's got good stuff. He'd been pitching a lot for this team, and he was actually down, unavailable yesterday and the day before, so he's well rested.
For Smoak, that's just his second career home run here at Yankee Stadium, and you talk about a timely home run. It breaks a scoreless tie. So far, there have been a total of 7 runs scored in this series, and they've all come on the home run. Two and two. How many times have we said it this season? It doesn't make any difference where you are in the Blue Jays lineup. They can snap and break any kind of situation quickly. Russell Martin. Russell goes down on strikes. Horn retires the first man he faces here in the 6th. 2 of the big boppers in the American League here in this ballpark, and the Blue Jays with another home run. That's the 3rd one they've hit in this series. They now have 150 home runs. They are second to the league leading Astros. The Yankees are right behind them, followed by the Orioles and the Mariners.
Home run hitters up and down this lineup for the Blue Jays. Doesn't get any bigger than a grand slam.
Blue Jays now have 6. Check that, 7 players who have 10 or more home runs. Troy Tulowitzki has 2 with the Blue Jays, but 14 overall. Smoke, that's his 10th. And what a powerful lineup this is. Ryan Goins has been on base twice so far. He had an infield hit and reached on a fielder's choice. Goins didn't mean to, but it went around. Justin Smoke gave up his number 14 when David Price was acquired, but lucky 13 has turned the trick for Smoke. Goins strikes out. Adam Warren comes out of the bullpen and puts out the fire, but too little too late. Justin Smoke hits his 10th home run of the season. It's a grand slam home run, his first career grand slam home run, and the Blue Jays have staked David Price to a 4-0 lead. A handful of aces around Major League Baseball. We thought we'd show you the list of the most games, 8 or more innings pitched with 10 or more strikeouts the last 2 seasons. The Indians have one of those aces in Corey Kluber, and the Dodgers as well. 10 times Kershaw has done that, and David Price has done it 12 times. 8 or more innings with 10 or more strikeouts.
Yeah, the guy who leads it is this man right here. You were talking earlier about what an ace means to a team. Talking about giving them innings and stopping losing streaks and winning big games like today. They also give the bullpen some time off because you know they're going to go deep. R.A. Dickey's been pitching like an ace. And now you got David Price to do his thing.
Boy, R.A. Dickey certainly has been pitching like an ace. Since the All-Star break, he is 3-0 with a 0.99 earned run average in 5 starts. Doesn't get any better than that. He's got his ERA below 4 for the first time since April 23rd, and only 9 pitchers have thrown 30 innings since the All-Star break, and Dickey's one of those. His ERA since the break is better than Clayton Kershaw's. Ball is drilled but foul. Now you're going to see what an ace is all about. You give him a lead, he has shut out the Yankees through 5 innings on just 2 hits. We saw this in his first start with the Blue Jays. Bases loaded, nobody out. Tulowitzki made a catch on a pop-up in shallow center. Then Price struck out the side, and a twin would not reach the base for the rest of the game.
And then the Blue Jays took the lead the next inning, in the 5th inning, against that Minnesota team, and that was it. Price shut him out, and he was done after 8 innings.
0-2 to Chris Young. Little tapper foul right at home plate. The Blue Jays last night got great work from their bullpen. LaTroy Hawkins, Brett Cecil, and Roberto Osuna. And what they did too was they were very efficient in their pitch count, so they would all be available today. Plus you have Aaron Sanchez back.
Unofficially, I haven't officially looked at it. You talk about being efficient. I think those 3 pitchers threw 22 pitches total to finish off the Yankees in the last 3 innings.
David Price finishes off Chris Young with a changeup. Price with 5 strikeouts now.
This is the point in the game in his last start where he started going back to that changeup just a little bit more. It's the first out of that inning, which is important. There's the changeup. Just tuck it back into your fingers, throw it as hard as you can, and just where that ball comes off those fingers will take the steam off of that pitch.
21 pitches for Hawkins, Cecil, and Osuna in the game last night. 3 innings, 21 pitches.
21. I mean, what's impressive about that is you're doing it against the Yankees, a team that, yeah, they're great hitters in a hitter's ballpark, but they're very professional. They take a lot of pitches.
When the Blue Jays lost game 2 of the season here at Yankee Stadium, they had a hit batter, a walk, a hit batter with the bases loaded in the 8th inning that led to 3 runs. Totally different makeup of their bullpen now. Troy Hawkins, a veteran, the sage down in that bullpen, has insisted that the bullpen travel as a group. When they come out of the bullpen at the end of the game, he says we're all walking in together. 1-2 to Rodriguez. He reaches for it and stays alive. David Price enters this game with a 10-4 record. His ERA at the start of this game, 2.35. Changeup. Rodriguez strikes out. Back-to-back strikeouts in the 6th. We have talked all year long about the offense, but we should give the starters recognition for what they've done since the All-Star break. Look at the starters record. This is the individual starters, their record. They've won 11 games and lost just 2 since the All-Star break.
Pretty impressive, and it all starts with the starting pitcher when he goes out there. If you want a hot streak, 11 wins from their starters since the All-Star break.
Teixeira pulls the first pitch to third. Donaldson fires to Smoke. 3 up, 3 down. The Blue Jays score 4 runs in the top of the 6th. David Price retires the batters in order in the bottom half.
Cup presented by National Bank. Catch all the action from both Toronto and Montreal starting Monday right here on Sportsnet. Buck?
Thank you very much, Barry. Great action. The men are in Montreal, the women are in Toronto, and you'll see all the action right here on Sportsnet. Make sure you check it out. Well, the Yankees going deeper into their bullpen now. Adam Warren came in to strike out Russell Martin and Ryan Goins, and now Brian Mitchell, the right-hander, into the ball game.
7 games for the young pitcher. He was originally a 16th round draft pick back in 2009 out of high school. He throws hard, a good fastball, 2 and a 4-seamer. He's got a hard curveball. That's probably his best pitch. That's where he's going to get a lot of those strikeouts. He's got command. He's only walked 4 to go along with those 14 strikeouts. Bill Patterson worked with him and showed him the cutter. And so he has added that too. He's another one of those young kids. We saw it last night in Pinder with a big arm that comes up with the Yankees and trying to help out that bullpen.
Yeah, the Yankees have gotten away from paying attention to the minor leagues, and they've returned to that. Kevin Pillar 0 for 2. 8-9-1 for the Blue Jays here in the 7th. Up and in. Ball on the strike. 97. We talk about the young arms in that Yankee pen, and they got some guys that can bring it.
That looked free and easy right there at 97. And remember, his best pitch is that breaking ball.
One to Kevin Pillar leading off the 7th. He gets jammed and hits a one-hopper to Brendan Ryan. 1 out. Ben Revere, the left fielder. Blue Jays have just 4 hits. But the big blow in the game, the grand slam by Justin Smoak, and we've been informed that Justin Smoak is the first player in Blue Jay history to hit a grand slam at Yankee Stadium, new or old Yankee Stadium. That's hard to believe.
Certainly is. First Blue Jay to hit a grand slam at Yankee Stadium.
And it's his first grand slam. And it came at a big, big moment in the ballgame. Ben Revere 0 for 2. He's grounded out and flied out. Ball on the strike. Boy, this Blue Jays ball club, you could see it in the clubhouse this morning. You know, they won a tough game last night, 2-1 in extra innings, but it was very businesslike. Everybody's sitting at their locker. Everybody's thinking about baseball. Everybody's talking about the game. another fly ball to left. Young was in shadow. 2 down. They were all talking about the game except when they were opening up their boxes and looking at their new scooter.
I'm going to go take a ride on that new scooter.
In case you're just joining us, David Price brought a scooter to Toronto when he joined the ball club, a little electric scooter, and some of the players said, man, that's pretty cool. And David said, you want one? And so this morning there were about 10, 12 big boxes in the Blue Jays locker room, and they were opening up their new scooters.
A lot of the players live around the ballpark in Toronto. You can now scooter your way to work.
2 outs. This is the leadoff man, Troy Tulowitzki. You know, Troy Tulowitzki was part of a Rockies team in 2007 that had a great month of September. They parlayed that great month of September into a World Series appearance. They would ultimately lose to the Red Sox in 4 straight, but there are some similarities between that club and what's going on here. And I spoke to Tulowitzki about that this morning. He said, you know, we had a good team in Colorado. We just didn't play well. But I come here, and now when I come to the clubhouse, there's an expectation that we're going to win every day. And it's not spoken. There's not a lot of hoorah going on about it. It's just like, okay, we're here. We got a good team. We got good players. Now let's go win a game.
That's a good feeling, isn't it? You probably experienced that when the Blue Jays won 99 games in 1985, where you said, you know what, we're good, we know it, and we got a chance to win.
I was fortunate to have that feeling in Kansas City. 76, 77, 78, we hooked up against the Yankees 3 straight seasons in the playoffs, and then went to Milwaukee and played with all those great players in Milwaukee. Paul Molitor and Robin Yount, Sal Bando, and we had that same feeling. We walked on the field every day expecting to win, and if we didn't, it was a big surprise.
Yeah, you're upset. You just knew you had a good team, and you knew you had a chance to win every night.
Full count to Tulowitzki. There's a high fly ball to left. Young is at the track. This one is gone. Another home run for Troy Tulowitzki. His 3rd as a Blue Jay, his 15th overall, and that adds to the Blue Jays lead. Boy, he got up on top of that high fastball and Tommy hopped it into the seats in left.
You know what? He is so quick. He's a big guy. I didn't realize how big he is. Tall, wiry, but he's so quick with that bat. You try and slip a fastball by him, he's so quick, he generates a lot of bat speed and can get the ball up in the air very quickly. And he gets to circle the bases here at Yankee Stadium. Blue Jays now lead at 5-0. Mitchell's got a good arm. The pitcher looks like he tries to go up and in. And look how quick he gets through that ball. That ball's up and in. A lot of times you'll see batters pop that ball up, foul it back. He got through that one.
Curveball, and Donaldson took an awkward step out of the batter's box, but Didi Gregorius throws him out. The inning is over, but the Blue Jays get another home run. This one comes with 2 outs. Troy Tulowitzki goes upstairs and knocks a high booming home run to left. 5-0 Blue Jays.
will be paying a visit to Rogers Center at the end of this month. Friday, August 28th, 29th, and 30th, it's the Jays and Tigers. Go to BlueJays.com for more tickets. And guys, Price is still keeping close tabs on his former team. In fact, last night after that skirmish in the Tigers dugout with James McCann and Iglesias, Price tweeted this morning that he sees McCann wearing a C one day, just like Derek Jeter. He says that McCann's a guy that wants to see full effort from his team at all times, and definitely did not see that last night.
That was pretty interesting. McCann and Iglesias, the shortstop, got into it in the dugout, and McCann took exception to the effort that Iglesias had at a ground ball up the middle. And got to admire the young man. He's in his first season as a big leaguer, full season now, and he's been embarrassed by the way the team has played lately.
And Brad Ausmus, the manager, wished that disagreement wasn't caught on cameras, and he also said he compares it to brothers fighting. When you spend so much time with guys, 7 straight months, there's bound to be some disagreements and some problems.
So David Price, he's got no problem with his offense. They have given him a 5-0 lead. Brian McCann, Carlos Beltran, and Chase Headley here in the 7th. Price went 8 innings in his Blue Jays debut and racked up 11 strikeouts. He's got 6 through 6 innings today. Boy, he can pitch, Ken.
Yeah.
Uses that changeup to even the count at 1-1.
And that's a good way to talk about. He's not a guy who just goes out there and throws it as hard as he can. I mean, he's pitching. Using the changeup now. This is the 3rd time through the lineup for the Yankees. And Price getting towards the end. He's up to 95 pitches. He's starting to use the changeup just a little bit more.
There's another changeup pulled foul. David Price has just experienced his 2nd July trade deadline move. In July of 2014, he was involved in a 3-team trade. Detroit sent Austin Jackson to Seattle. Detroit then sent Drew Smyly and Willie Adames to Tampa Bay. Seattle sent Nick Franklin to Tampa Bay, and David Price ended up from Tampa Bay to Detroit. McCann strikes out. That's strikeout number 7 for David Price, moving up the leaderboard in the American League.
And he's gotten those strikeouts. He's used a slider. He has changed speeds with his fastball. He's used his changeup a couple of times. He's got the 7 strikeouts, and all but one of them has been swinging. You can see around the strike zone, and you look at the miles per hour, they're all different. Not everything's the same speed, which is another art to pitching.
Price gets the comebacker, flips it to first. Beltran is retired. 9 straight retired by David Price, and he has pitched well in this ballpark in the past. This is his 14th career start at Yankee Stadium. He comes in with a 6-2 record.
My biggest memory is the day Derek Jeter got his 3,000th hit. Remember that? That was right here in this ballpark. That was off of David Price.
And David Price probably very subdued, had a little smile and satisfaction knowing that one of the great players of all time had gotten the hit for a milestone base hit. Chase Headley, 0 for 2. He has reached on a fielder's choice. David Price, that last pitch was pitch number 100. Price will open up the Yankees series at Rogers Center next Friday night. The numbers we're talking about over his last 6 starts, how well he has pitched in this ballpark. 4-0 with a 216 earned run rate.
How about the strikeout to walk ratio against the New York Yankees? 49-9. You mentioned that he's going to pitch next Friday back at Rogers Center. Blue Jays have an off day on Monday, and they've elected that they are not going to skip anybody. They're going to give everybody that extra day of rest.
They won't have an off day on Monday the 10th, and then the 17th and 20th. Off days around a 2-game trip into Philadelphia. And then they'll have an off day on the 3rd of September, so they can do a lot of jockeying of their rotation to make sure that David Price gets a start on his regular day's rest. Chase Headley takes ball 4. That's the 3rd walk issued by Price.
Make your renovation a cut above during the DIY expert sale. Only at Home Building Center at Home Hardware Building Center.
Didi Gregorius, the shortstop, with Chase Headley at first. This goes after the first pitch. Blue Jays have a 5-0 lead. Couple of home runs. Justin Smoak with a grand slam home run in the 6th. Troy Tulowitzki a solo home run with 2 outs in the 7th. Blue Jays have scored 7 runs in this series so far. All the runs coming on home runs.
Those are pretty close. Just off the plate, as you can see from pitch tracker. And there's Aaron Sanchez now starting to get loose.
Bouncing ball over Smoak's head into right field. Headley will go first to 3rd. Gregorius bouncing run over the first baseman. That's just the 3rd hit for New York.
And it's the first time, Buck, that the Yankees have gotten a runner to 3rd base. This with 2 outs, a walk, and then a ball on the ground and over Smoak's head. I was surprised that they were holding the runner on with a left-handed batter up at the plate in a 5-run lead.
Yeah, if Smoak is back, it's probably a routine ground ball to the first baseman, but after the walk and the single, Pete Walker will take this opportunity to come to the mound and give Aaron Sanchez a little more time to get loose and give David Price a little bit of a breather. Price would certainly love to finish off this inning. Brendan Ryan, number 9 hitter. He's lined out and popped out. Price misses with the first pitch. Price threw 119 pitches over his 8 innings in his first start with the Blue Jays, allowed just 3 hits. Both of those changeup misses the outside corner. Ryan starting at 2nd against Price, the left-hand. Ryan goes after the pitch, pops it up out in front of the mound, and Smoak comes over. David Price, 7 innings of 3 hits, shutout ball. For the Blue Jays, it'll be Jose Bautista. He had a base hit in the 6th, and Encarnacion he walked. And Justin Smoak cashed everybody in. His first career grand slam came here at Yankee Stadium.
innings for him, and he's had 14 complete games over his career, which is very impressive. But check out what Rick Langford did. He had 22 consecutive complete games, not in his career, but consecutive. One of the most remarkable performances in baseball history. And a little bit more on that story. Stay tuned to Sportsnet as we present Rick Langford. Sunday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I know both of you guys know Rick Langford very well, and that is quite a number.
Well, it sure is, Barry, and that's the way the Oakland A's played at that time. I looked it up yesterday. I believe it was 94 complete games for the whole season.
The way the pitchers are now, you won't get that in a decade.
No, not even close. So it's Bautista, Encarnacion, and Justin Smoke. Bautista hits one up the middle, and it's off of Brendan Ryan, and there'll be no play. Brendan Ryan was shaded up the middle, but Bautista hit it so hard it ate up the second baseman. Should be a base hit for Bautista, his second of the afternoon.
This ball is hit hard. You can see the effects of the shift right behind the pitcher. That is right over the bag, but that in-between hop eats up Ryan.
They charge Ryan with an air, but you can see it really ate him up. It's too hot to handle, that old-fashioned phrase you don't hear much anymore. So Ryan charged with the air. Bautista denied the hit. I think that should have been a hit.
Yeah, well, look who the fielder is. He's as sure-handed as they get.
Yeah.
And if he can't handle it, don't you have to give him a base hit?
I would. Edwin Encarnacion, he walked in the sixth. That loaded the bases and set the table for Justin Smoke. Edwin trying to extend his hit streak to 11 straight. So far, he is 0 for 2 with that walk. Lost the grip on that bat as his hand came off, and he's been dealing with that finger injury again, and that may have aggravated it.
Yeah, I think it did. He's also had a shoulder problem. It's a mighty swing by Encarnacion. You can see he lets go of it, and it is hurting that hand.
He dropped the bat immediately. He's had a problem with a knuckle, and it takes he takes those big cuts, and every once in a while that'll roll over on that finger and create problems for him. Well, you'd hate to lose him to any type of injury for any length of time, as well as he's swinging the bat.
And this time of the year, I mean, all the players, they've been playing a long time, they're all dinged up. And there's an assortment of injuries, some that you can play through, some that better take a day off here or there just to make sure you're okay. The way he's swinging, you can tell he doesn't want to come out of the game.
No, he's swinging the bat so well. He is 0 for 2 today. He now has 373 at-bats for the season, and George Poulos is making sure he's okay. But you can see Edwin has no intention of leaving this game.
Hey, players know when they're swinging.
Yeah.
And when they're seeing the ball. The last thing you want to do when you're swinging that well is go sit down.
That's what you will say politely to George Poulos. Go sit down. 1-2, nobody out. Bautista at first. He reached on the air by Brendan Ryan. Checked his swing. Marty Foster's in agreement down at first. Marco Estrada will go to the mound on Sunday, the series finale. He'll be opposed by Masahiro Tanaka. Estrada has a career high 9 wins. Tanaka is 8-4 for the Yanks. Encarnacion gets a base hit, and that'll ease the pain of that injury. Bautista challenges the center fielder Ellsbury, and he picks his pocket. First and third. Encarnacion with the single. Ellsbury assuming Bautista was going to stop at second. Not the case.
You know what, Edwin? Jose Bautista is such a good base runner. He's always thinking ahead. And he just decoyed him right into this. Watch him act like he is just going to just cruise into second base and then stop. And once Ellsbury then takes his eye off of Bautista and to go get the ball, he's going to lay back on him. Bautista just jogging like he's going to just make it, and then all of a sudden he just fires it into second gear. And when Ellsbury laid back on the ball to catch it and flip it back in, Bautista takes another 90 feet.
This is Justin Smoke with the grand slam, a home run in the 6th, and he bounces the first pitch foul.
You know, we were talking about Edwin also having some problems in the way he's swinging, but here's the swing. It's a good swing, and then watch very quickly he takes that hand off and follows through with the top hand.
Well, I tell you what, you got to be a strong man to swing the bat like that. That single extends his hit streak to 11 straight. Bautista jockeying off third base. You mentioned Bautista with his great base running, and Encarnacion has really run the bases well of late, and everybody seems to be really keen and focused on every little break they can take advantage of. The infield is drawn in. Bouncing ball. Encarnacion will stop, and he's tagged by Gregorius, and boy, what a good play by the shortstop. Encarnacion had to go to second on the grounder, and Gregorius played it as well as you could have. Encarnacion tried to avoid the tag as he fell to the ground. Gregorius tagged him and threw the first to complete the double play.
Boy, what a heads-up play by the shortstop. You'll see second basemen do this, but I've never seen a shortstop do it. His momentum took him into the baseline. He tags Encarnacion for out number 1 and then flips it over to first for a double play. What a nice play.
Russell Martin now with 2 outs, and Bautista stuck at third.
You know, it worked, Buck, because the infield was in. And watch Gregorius go after the ball, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do. He didn't have time to flip the ball back to second base, the traditional double play, so he said, I'm going to just take it myself.
The ball took him right to the base path, and he was able to tag out Encarnacion. Edwin will probably get some attention on that left hand that he's been dealing with. You need his bat. Breaking ball in the dirt, 3-0. Ryan Goins is on deck. The Blue Jays have won the first 2 series against the Yankees this season. With a win today, that'll be 3 consecutive series wins against New York. It's the first time they have won the first 2 series against New York in a season since 2001. This has always been a tough stop on the tour for the Blue Jays playing here at Yankee Stadium.
I think they broke that long losing streak, if you will, series here last year. Remember that? They elected not to take batting practice one day and didn't come out on the field until the game started to try and snap that jinx, and they ended up winning the series.
Now it's a full count on Russell Martin. Brian Mitchell in his second inning of work gave up a home run to Troy Tulowitzki in the 7th. Martin bounces it between the mound and third base. Gregorius not a chance. Russell Martin drives in a run with an infield single. RBI number 50 for the Blue Jays catcher. That makes it a 6-0 game.
Well, you love to see him cash in that run. They had first and third, nobody out. Gregorius with the great double play. And it looked like they had a chance to get out of, but a 2-out hit by Martin. Gregorius does everything he can, but Russell gets himself an infield hit and an RBI.
Bautista comes in to score for the 2nd time this afternoon. Blue Jays have scored 6 runs on 7 hits. The Yankees are scoreless on just 3 hits. Settled into the seats. Blue Jays trying to stretch their winning streak to 7 straight. The New York Mets entering play today have won 7 straight over in the National League. They have a 2.5 game lead over Washington. Blue Jays have the longest winning streak in the American League. Troy Tulowitzki hasn't lost as a Blue Jays starter. Owens takes strike 2. Remember, folks, David Price will open up the Yankees series next Friday night at Rogers Center. So if you have any thoughts of checking out a game, that'd be a good one to check out. Owens strikes out. That'll bring the 8th inning to an end. Blue Jays add a run. They take a 6-0 lead into the bottom of the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn.
A hit, and our next one is going to be even bigger. It is Friday, August 14th. These same Blue Jays and Yankees go head-to-head at Rogers Center, and it will be David Price making yet another start against the Yankees, as we just heard from Jamie and Greg. Get to the ballpark early for our pregame festival outside Gate 10. The gates will open at 4:30, and you can enjoy a live performance by special guest Monster Truck in the licensed area. Go to BlueJays.com for tickets. Buck?
Thank you very much, Barry. That'll be an interesting weekend series against the New York Yankees. Aaron Sanchez, back after serving the 3-game suspension, will take over here in the 8th inning.
Got to get him into the ball game after serving that suspension. 3 games. There are his numbers: 6-4, 339 earned run average. He last worked on the 4th. He picked up a hold against Minnesota through a very clean inning. Aaron was telling me today, I said, you were working a lot before that suspension, and the backdrop of that story was, yeah, I was hot, and pitchers, when they hear the term hot, that means they're ready to pitch in the game or they have pitched in the game. He was hot 6 of the 7 previous games.
Bouncing ball. Goins is going to get a tricky hop. He unloads in a hurry. What a play by Ryan Goins. Ellsbury can run. And that was a bouncing ball that was going to take a high hop, and Goins knew he had to unload in a hurry. You can see him telling Tulowitzki that was a quick turn. Watch Goins, the second baseman.
You know, we highlighted him at the start of the game, how well Tulowitzki and Goins have been playing up the middle, and it comes through once again. Watch this. All in one motion. Catch the ball, put it in that throwing hand, jump, throw all at one time. Get enough on it to record the first out. That's a heck of a play.
Terrific defense for the Blue Jays. This is Brett Gardner pinch hitting for Chris Young. As Young started, Gardner went 2 for 4 in the game last night. Young departs, having gone 0 for 3. To put another red star in the book for the Goins play on Ellsbury.
Absolutely. finish up that story on Aaron Sanchez. So he was hot 6 out of the 7 days. He was going to be down for 2 days anyway. So they got together and they said, you know, it's only going to be really like being down 1 day. So let's go ahead and take the suspension now. Take the 3 days, serve it. Aaron says, I didn't want that thing hanging over my head for a while because his hearing wasn't going to be for another couple of weeks.
Yeah, man, it's good to get it past you now. And you can operate without any concerns about an impending suspension. In case you're just joining us, John Gibbons was ejected from this game at the end of the top half of the third. He came out to discuss with Greg Gibson the check swing of Donaldson that led to strike 3. And literally, he was just strolling out to the home plate, thought he would talk things over with Greg Gibson, and Gibson threw him out. Then it got animated. But Donaldson had 2 check swings and ended that at bat in the third inning, and Gibson called him for a swing on both. So that was just a subplot here. David Price and Ivan Nova throwing shutouts through 5 innings. And Gardner, the pinch hitter, strikes out against Sanchez. So David Price has his 2nd consecutive good start as a Blue Jay. He's now thrown 15 innings for the Blue Jays and allowed just 6 hits. A clean slate today. No runs over 7 innings. Walked 3 and struck out 7.
We were talking earlier in the ball game about what an ace does when they give you innings. He did that today, 7 innings. He keeps the opposition off the scoreboard. He did that. Check. No earned runs. He gave the bullpen not a total day off, but it made it a lot easier on the Blue Jays. And if they can hold on, win the first 2 games of the series.
And they will close to within 2.5 games of the front-running New York Yankees. And will stretch their win streak to 7 straight. What's wrong with that pitch? Greg Gibson called it off the plate. Russell Martin's discussing it with the home plate umpire. Rodriguez had a single in the 4th. So fly ball into center. Pilar will get over and run it down. Sanchez has a clean inning in the 8th. Will go to the 9th. The Blue Jays are shutting out the New York Yankees. His best-selling car 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
6th inning, scoreless ball game. Bases loaded and just in smoke. He's going to pick on a curveball from Ivan Nova, he's going to send it into the seats for his 10th home run of the season and his first career grand slam. That's this afternoon's drive of the game.
It's hard to believe, but it's the Blue Jays' first grand slam ever at Yankee Stadium. They've played 285 games at Yankee Stadium number 2 and 61 games here at New Yankee Stadium, and this was their first grand slam home run. For Smoke, it's his career first grand slam. Gardner takes over defensively in left after pinch hitting for Chris Young. The Blue Jays have had another multi-home run game. It's the 12th multi-home run game they've had since the All-Star break. In those 12 games, they've hit 28 home runs. Kevin Pillar hits it hard. Gardner will be tested right off the bat, and he reaches up over his head to make the catch. With Smoke hitting his 10th home run of the season, the Blue Jays now feature 7 hitters with 10 or more home runs on the season. It's a terrific offense, and they were able to add a run in the 8th on an RBI single by Russell Martin. That's the only run that they have scored in this series that hasn't come on a home run.
You know, that's amazing. You know, we've talked a lot this year about the depth of the Blue Jays, that they don't just have power hitters in the middle of the lineup. They've got multiple guys who can hurt you up and down the lineup.
Troy Tulowitzki homered in the 7th, a shot into the seats in left.
Another double-digit home run hitter now.
Well, I think the real challenge for opposing pitchers is if you focus on Tulowitzki, Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion. Okay, that's 4 hitters. So maybe you get them out. And now you got to deal with the other 5. Somehow somebody's going to scratch out a couple of hits and drive in some runs.
Yeah, there's too many good hitters. You've got Chris Colabello, not even in the lineup today, with 10 home runs and 41 RBIs. Smoke now has 10 home runs and 35 RBIs.
It's a well put together roster. Breaking ball hit to third. Headley throws out. Ben Revere 2 down. Well, the Blue Jays looking to win their 7th straight game, and you go back to the last game in the Kansas City series, and there's the 4-game sweep of the Twins. They won last night, game 1 here in New York. And after tomorrow's game, they'll enjoy a well-deserved day off on Monday before Brett Laurie, Danny Valencia, and the Oakland A's come to town for a 3-game series, and then they'll be right back to the Yankees. Marco Estrada will pitch tomorrow in the series finale.
Saw Sonny Gray outduel, I think it was Dallas Keuchel yesterday, so we'll see Sonny Gray at some point in that series against Oakland. You know, the way the Blue Jays have been playing right now, they hold on, they win this ball game. You know, a lot of people will be happy, hey, we went into the Yankee Stadium and we won the series, blah, blah, blah. The way this team is playing right now and the type of players they have here, if I know them, they're going to want to sweep.
Yeah, and you can bet if they win this game, they'll come into the clubhouse and say, we haven't done anything yet, boys. We got a job to do today, and that's to win this game on Sunday. R.A. Dickey, with a terrific start last night, set the tone for this series. And you got to give Dickey a lot of credit, because when Price was scheduled to pitch, they decided to give Price an extra day. Dickey pitched on short rest and beat Kansas City.
And pitched a beautiful ball game. And then Price opened up that Minnesota series with his gem.
Tulowitzki skies it. Foul territory. The catcher pulls out of the way. Chase Headley makes the catch, and we will go to the bottom of the ninth. Big day for Justin Smoak. His first career Grand Slam home run.
is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Lots of smiling Blue Jay fans here at Yankee Stadium as they have enjoyed the first 2 games of this 3-game series. And the Blue Jays have hit some home runs, big home runs today. A grand slam and a solo shot. Smoke with a grand slam. Tulowitzki with the solo shot. The Blue Jays have a 6-0 lead as they head to the bottom of the ninth.
And that means Mark Lowe will come in now. There are his numbers in 37 games with Seattle in Toronto. First time up, he gave up a home run to Ben Zobrist in his first appearance with the Blue Jays. Followed that up with a very nice 1-2-3 inning against Minnesota 3 days ago. Mark Lowe trying to put the finishing touches on this one. He's averaging 11 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Aaron Sanchez needed 12 pitches to retire the side in order. Now Lowe trying to close out the game. Teixeira fouls off the first pitch. The Blue Jays combined as a team have 6 shutouts this season. Lowe trying to put another 0 on the board and make it 7. Troy Tulowitzki is undefeated as a Blue Jays starter. Mark Lowe worked a perfect inning on Wednesday against the Twins. He worked the 8th inning, retired the side in order. Had a strikeout.
That was right in front of the save by the Troy Hawkins. Hawk picked up his first save as a Blue Jay.
For Hawkins, that gave him a save against all 30 ball clubs. Mark Teixeira behind 0-2. Lowe has been a terrific addition to this Blue Jays bullpen. He and LaTroy Hawkins, a couple of experienced relievers, just adding more depth to a very effective pen. Teixeira, look at the scoop by Smoke. He's a difference maker at first base with his glove. And he came in hard and was very aggressive as he scooped that short hopper.
And that's what John Gibbons called him yesterday. He said, in this ballpark against this team, we can't give the opposition any extra outs. So I'm going to go with my best defensive team. He said Justin Smoke is a difference maker with that glove. And then, excuse me, Buck, he was hoping with his the right field porch over there with his left-handed bat that his bat would come into play this series.
One swing of the bat and Smoke blew this game wide open. Grand slam home run that came in the 6th. Brian McCann 0-for-3 against David Price, and he had Price's number. He was 9 for 16 against Price before the 0-for-3 today. Inside, the Yankees have missed the postseason for the last 2 years, and Joe Girardi understands what he's dealing with now. He's got a lot of respect for the Blue Jays and what they have done.
Yeah, they can feel the heat of the Blue Jays. They know how well they're playing. You know, one thing I think the Yankees have going for them is they don't have any more long trips the rest of the season.
Yeah, they don't go out west at all.
Their farthest 2 trips for the rest of the season, Tampa and Atlanta. That's it. They've got 1-2. Baltimore and Boston, Cleveland, and the New York Mets. They have to go play the Mets at Citi Field in September. But you're right, they're done going out west.
This is their 52nd home game. So they'll have 29 more home games. That certainly plays to their advantage as well. They are 32 and about to go 20 losses. And McCann strikes out against Lowe. Third time McCann has struck out this afternoon.
This is what Mark Lowe can do. A little slider, a little backdoor slider. He's averaging 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. Finishes off Brian McCann there. One other trip that the Yankees, I forgot to mention, is the big trip coming to Toronto. It's coming up.
Next week they'll be there for a 3-game series, and should be a great atmosphere. Oakland for 3, the Yankees for 3 at Rogers Center next Tuesday. It all starts. Says Carlos Beltran. You know, managers are always a little bit concerned about their teams facing knuckleball pitchers. The Yankees have faced 2 knuckleball pitchers in the last 4 games, and they have scored 4 runs in all 4 of those games. 4 runs total. And this should do it. Smoke will scoop and fire to low. That's the ball game. The Blue Jays have shut out the Yankees on just 3 hits. David Price wins for a second time. And the Blue Jays have come into the Yankees' home and taken the first